Dante Chen versus parking and towing enforcement. Is this something you can speak to Mr. Arauz about that you think you can reach an agreement on, or do we need to move forward?
Oh yeah, and sorry if I submitted this under the wrong thing. It's my first time doing anything like this, so please bear with me.
Buckle up, guys. Today we are stepping into a courtroom dispute that starts simple but quickly gets complicated. A man claims his car was illegally towed from his girlfriend's apartment even though a visitor pass was supposedly submitted. Sounds straightforward, right? But within seconds, the judge zeroes in on one critical issue: proof. And the moment "I don't have confirmation" enters the conversation, the entire case shifts from confidence to uncertainty.
Dante Chen versus parking and towing enforcement. Is this an illegal tow case?
I believe so.
All right.
Let me confirm, Your Honor.
I'm just wondering why it would end up on this docket, but that's okay. It's not a big deal.
So no, it looks like this was a small claims case, a counterclaim in regards to, yeah, a tow. Not really sure, but it looks like a counter.
Okay, this is the only one where I didn't look at the petition, but let's see. You charged for towing while at a girlfriend's apartment, despite her submitting a 3-day visitor's pass. And it says that they've always, and so this is an illegal tow, is what this is really what this comes down to.
That's really what it is, but it was filed
Yeah.
as a small claim.
Yeah, yeah. So this is based on an illegal tow. All right. So Mr. Chen, is this something you can speak to Mr. Arauz about that you think you can reach an agreement on, or do we need to move forward?
I would be down to try.
Mr. Arauz, are you open to discuss this with Mr. Chen in a private breakout room?
We have already accrued some expenses in response to this, so unless he would be willing to pay those expenses.
I'm
All right.
not.
Doesn't seem like it. All right. So if the two of you can raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
All right, Mr. Chen, you may proceed.
Oh yeah, and sorry if I submitted this under the wrong thing. It's my first time doing anything like this, so please bear with me. But thank you so much for hearing my case. And essentially, I was parking at my girlfriend's apartment complex pretty regularly for a couple nights at a time on the weekends. She would always assure me that when I arrived, she would fill out the guest parking pass form. I had no issues parking there for months on end, and then my car got towed on Easter weekend. I went to get it recovered, paid the fees, and I'm just looking to get those payments recovered because I believe that it was towed incorrectly.
All right, so let's get to the point here. Show me where you had the 3-day pass for this particular weekend.
Unfortunately, this is a matter of like lack of proof because they claim that they didn't exist and the system wasn't giving her any confirmation.
So is this between you and the tow company, or is it between you and the apartment complex?
Well, so the apartment complex told us that they surely delegate all of their towing to the towing company, and I have an email from them. I wasn't trying to submit this, so I don't know if I'm able to submit it as evidence, but they suspended their services with this towing company later on
Right,
down the
so
line.
I get it, but the question here is, when you get a 3-day pass, you request that through the apartment
A
complex
portal, the portal that the parking and towing
portal,
enforcement.
but is the portal, Mr. Arauz, is that your portal?
No, so the portal is through a third-party provider. The system is called Towbook. It's a system that a lot of towing companies nationally use. So users go ahead and apply through the parking permit software, and then we have access to see what permits are there and available.
Okay, so is this a service that you provide to the apartment complex, or is it one that the apartment complex they enroll?
This is where the story takes a turn. The focus moves away from the apartment complex and lands directly on the towing company's digital permit system. The judge carefully untangles who controls the software, who provides it, and who's responsible when it fails. For a moment, it feels like the driver might have a chance, because if the system glitched, that changes everything. Responsibility is now under the microscope.
In this process, and then you both go in there to have access to it. In other words, who hired that third party?
Yeah, so we provide the software for the apartment for them to use.
All right, so this is your portal then,
Correct.
right? You provided this software to the apartment complex. They use it. This is based on the services that you provide. So you're responsible, not you specifically, but through your company or you as an agent for this company, um, in order for Mr. Chen to get a 3-day parking pass, it goes through a system that you provided to the apartment complex in order to do so.
That is correct.
Okay, Mr. Chen, so you requested a 3-day pass, you never got confirmation.
Yes,
But
there's
you parked there anyways.
yes.
So why am I going to give you your money back if you didn't have confirmation?
So the issue here is that they have a record that they submitted as evidence of her showing successful parking permits being issued. The problem is that they don't match at all with what makes sense based off of how
Okay.
often I've parked there and
Right. I'm not so concerned about what happened in the past that, well, in the past, towing company says, you've requested a parking pass before and you got it, and now the system didn't work, right? That's not the issue here today. The issue here today is you're aware that you require a parking pass. You did not, you went through the system, it didn't work, but you parked there anyways.
so the main issue is that the first example of a successful permit being submitted
I'm not
was
concerned about the previous
no,
times.
this was Sunday, the day after I got towed. So there's a successful submission.
The judge cuts through all the explanations with one simple legal reality. You knew a permit was required, and you parked without confirmation anyway. That statement lands hard. The emotional argument about past approvals and system issues starts losing weight because courtrooms run on evidence, not assumptions. You can feel the momentum sliding away from the driver as logic begins to overpower the narrative.
On their website that shows that a parking pass was submitted for my
Again,
vehicle.
that has nothing to do with you being parked there on the day that you were towed. That has to do with a successful pass being issued after the fact. That's good for that car. I don't know whose car that was. That has nothing to do with this case. I'm only concerned about your vehicle on the day that you parked.
So I'm saying that on Friday she submitted the pass request. On Saturday my car was towed. The pass request for my car was shown as processed on Sunday.
Okay, so you're saying is that you requested a parking pass, you never got the confirmation, but then you got confirmation after the fact, after it was.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right. So Mr. Arauz, what do you have with respect to the system that it went ahead and authorized it 2-3 days later? Is the system down on the weekends or is this a 24 hours?
Incorrect. So I'd like to share my screen if that's okay.
Sure. And while he's doing that, Mr. Chen, did that parking pass that was authorized, did it include the first 2 days?
No,
It only included starting on that Sunday, the day
I
after.
believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is the system that we use to track vehicles. On this day, a vehicle was released Sunday, April 20th at 11:59 a.m. The drivers go ahead and photograph the violations at the time of the incident and also screenshot what shows on the system at the time that the towing occurred. So on 6:17 a.m. for his vehicle, it showed a visitor parking pass that was expired. Usually it would show multiple passes if there were previous passes in the past. However, for this incident, it was on February 25th, and this tow occurred in April. So only one history of one pass in the past, and that's what was displayed when the car was towed. Here's a secondary example because we'd run a double check as well. So again, at 6:17, expired permit found for a visitor parking permit. Now, what Mr. Chen is addressing to a permit being created, this is a history of all the permits that have been created for this specific vehicle. As you saw, the one before the tow on the 25th, and then here is one that expired on the April 24th. Here, when I click on history, you'll be able to see that it was created at 9:35 a.m. the day that it was towed. And his vehicle was picked up at 11:59 a.m. So I'm just going to assume that they realized their vehicle was towed and then decided to create a parking permit.
Well, hold on. He said this, you say this was created at 9:35 a.m. on 4/20. Now go back, the other ones, it was 11:30 a.m. Was it the same day?
11:30 a.m. Which one?
It says 11:59 is when
Yes,
you
on the-
released the vehicle. When did you actually tow it? Was it 6 in the morning?
Yes, at 6 in the
Okay,
morning.
all right. So it was released at 12 o'clock at noon,
Yes.
basically. And they created the parking at 9:35 a.m. the same day, which was 3 hours after it was towed. That's what you're
Correct. With expiration date then of the 23rd. Now, in Mr. Chen's claim, he also claims that the system wasn't working, which if it weren't, they wouldn't have been able to create this specific permit. Additionally, for that time, I also have I reached out to Towbook just to double check as well, and this was their response. Good morning. Gabe and I circled back with our team on this. We confirmed that we do not have any additional records of valid permit activity associated with this phone number or license plate provided between 4/18 and 4/20. The activity below is what we have on file during this time period, and this is exactly the created date here for the permit that he created on around, I think, 10 or 9 o'clock. So this is 4/20. They then go on to say, I've attached a copy of valid permit that expired at this property from that time frame. This supports that a permit was not accidentally canceled or expired prior to the 3-day window. Outside of the permit issued on the day that of the tow, there are no additional invalid permits listed for that license plate. I find it odd that if they allegedly had a valid permit, why did they apply for a permit for this vehicle 5 hours after the vehicle was towed from the property? Something's not adding up with their claim. They then provided an Excel sheet of all the vehicles for that property that were able to successfully complete a parking permit, and where their vehicle here lands is right here. On that day, they have an expiration date of 3 days later. So at this community, parking permits are valid for 72 hours or 3 days. And on the date of the tow, that's when they created a parking permit.
So, Mr. Chen, did you or your girlfriend submit a request for a parking permit at 9:35 as they indicated on the paperwork there?
No, my girlfriend was at work. I was sleeping. She said she submitted the permit on Friday.
Okay. And what evidence do you have to show that she submitted that on Friday?
Unfortunately, I don't have any evidence.
Okay. You understand that under the circumstances, he's provided evidence, you've not provided evidence. I find that the tow was a valid tow under the circumstances, and therefore your claim is denied.
Okay, understood.
All right. Good luck to you both.
Thank you so much.
5 CTX Law PLLC versus Reese Beard Sr. I know, Mr. Patante, you're here. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor. Good morning.
Good morning. Did I pronounce your name correctly?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. As you know, defendant's not here, so you win, but you still need to prove up your measure of damages. If you can just get straight to the point, I don't need all the fluff.
Sure.
So that we can just get to the measure of damages, and we'll go from there.
Absolutely, Your Honor. I represented Mr. Beard in a limited scope capacity in a family law matter. He paid for a lot of the way my system works is people book time with me and they pay for that time. So he did pay as he was going along his case. There was some additional fees that were incurred for me drafting some things for him. That was part of our arrangement. And he didn't pay for, or he just stopped paying his bills. He had paid most of his bills, but then just stopped towards the end of his case. So
And
this
what's the
amount, the balance owed on the is, I'm looking at my default judgment here. $519.39. The costs of court were $143.02.
And the cost of courts, that's automatic to the winning party. So that's not included in the judgment per se itself. That'll be judgment plus cost of court.
Yeah, and I had that separated out in the default judgment, the document. I had actually incurred in drafting the petition. Hold on, let me pull it up. Here it is. In drafting the petition, filing the petition, trying to communicate with Mr. Beard, and then filing and drafting a motion for default. The time I spent was 2 hours, and my billable rate is $400 an hour, so it was $934.96. But in my default judgment, I just asked for $750. My experience with Judge Holmes is that's typical when bills aren't paid, that's what she was awarding as attorney's fees. So I lowered it to $750.
All
And I
right.
kept a record. All of my billing is done on a Clio management system, and I shared all of my bills and invoices with Mr. Beard. He paid through the system, and so that's why all those records, I attached those to my petition, the records that were sent to him and the communications. So I'm asking for those amounts to be awarded.
All right, I'll grant you judgment then in the amount of $519.39 for the past due amount. And I will also grant attorney's fees in the amount of $750. And of course, court costs will be added to that at the end.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Is there anything else?
Question, is the court going to send me, I know I can't pull the PDFs off of the court's website, but are they going to email the judgment to me, or do I need to go pick it
Yeah,
up?
they'll send it to me. I'll sign them off on them first, and then once it's file stamped, then it'll be sent to you.
Thank you,
It'll be
Judge.
sent
Have a
to
great
you
week.
via mail and via email.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
This is the moment that decides everything. The towing company pulls up digital logs, timestamps, and third-party confirmations. The permit was created hours after the tow, not before. That detail is devastating. Once the timeline doesn't match the story, the case collapses. The judge rules the tow valid, and just like that, it's over. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next video.